Don't you do it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
Another Hue wall switch has been sold. Good. Lord Vader, ship the switch.
Welcome to the dumbest smart home product you could ever buy. A dumb home product, if you will. This new switch from Philips Hue is designed to convert your existing dumb light switch into a smart light switch that only works with Philips Hue's products. It's designed to stop your family members making your life a living hell by turning off your smart bulbs. It's supposed to take all of the pain out of the installation process with its battery-based design, but somehow, for some reason, still involves fiddling with the most deadly thing in your house. This video is every reason that you should be avoiding the Philips Hue wall module like the plague, and what you should be buying instead. You're talking about hardwiring Philips Hue into the mains of possibly every room of your house, with a product that only works with Philips Hue. Even the Philips Hue fanboys are sitting there right now with a little glimmer in their mind going, maybe that's not such a good idea. And I get it. Hue isn't a terrible ecosystem from a usage perspective, but it is the most expensive platform on the market, and you've just ensured that you can never buy from any other manufacturer ever again. You are literally about to marry Philips Hue. But unfortunately, explaining the perils of this to a Philips Hue fanboy goes a little bit something like this.
Use the Force, Luke.
Luke, it's a trap. We've just received intel that that's not the real Death Star and you're about to be killed by an enormous death ray.
I happen to like deadly traps and enormous death rays. Did you ever think of that, Admiral Akbar? No, you didn't, did you? Because you're just a fish.
In all seriousness, do not do this. This is number one on the list. If you change out your light fitting, it's going to be a pain in the ass to change it back again, and you never will. You'll have a Philips Hue light switch and therefore Philips Hue products all over that room. And every room you do this to will be one room closer to complete Philips Hue domination for the rest of your life.
Good.
It might seem like a good idea now, but you'll feel differently in 2 years' time. And there are other products on the market right now that are cheaper and won't tie you to Philips Hue. Why do this to yourself for £35 when you could not do this to yourself for £28? I recently featured the Broadlink TC3 light switch, and this thing reacts to both Google Home and She That Should Not Be Named for a lot less money. As well as using my voice to turn my lights on and off, I can also use the switch itself to turn on compatible plug sockets and even turn on and off my TV and AV equipment using my Broadlink RM4 Pro. So this light switch already does way more than the Hue module for less money.
That'll only work with normal light, but I want to use coloured bulbs. I want RGB. He's leaving stuff out. He's always leaving stuff out. I hate Paul Hibbert.
Shut up. Once the bulbs are turned on, you can use your voice to control the bulbs directly, which means that you still have control over things like colours and brightness, and you could even create routines in She That Should Not Be Named that said, if I say cinema mode, switch the light switch on, wait for 5 to 10 seconds, and then change the bulbs to a particular brightness and a particular colour. You can also buy a Broadlink motion sensor to trigger your light switch so that you didn't even have to press it. You can also get little switch buttons in like a remote form so that you could put those by your sofa and trigger Broadlink scenes if you wanted to. But the point is that even if you buy all of this Broadlink stuff, you don't have to buy Broadlink's bulbs to put in your ceiling, and you're not tied to Broadlink for any of your other product decisions. If you wanted to, the bulbs that you put in the ceiling could even be made by Philips Hue. Any third-party bulb.
Oh my god, this is so hacky! I bet it doesn't even work It's making up rubbish again!
It actually works perfectly, but even if it didn't, guess what? Hue's product doesn't bloody work properly. I was reading this article on The Verge from this guy who's kind of saying, oh, it's got all these problems, but you know, you should probably kind of buy it anyway. And my head was on fire. And this chap admitted that it doesn't do any of its basic functionality well, but then went on to say it does two things really well, both of them being basic functionality. Listen up, Trixie, if that is your real name, which it isn't. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that it does basic functionality really well, but it can't do things like trigger scenes if you have a rocker switch because you need to triple click. I'm actually pretty good at it. It's not a good solution though, is it? Who owns a rocker switch? And is it, just try, is it, Oh, that's right, everybody! Everybody in the flipping world has one of these! And don't get me wrong, I appreciate Philips are trying to make the best of a bad situation, but could they not have just released a proper light switch that looked like a rocker switch, but actually was a momentary switch, so you could do things like a triple click, or a double click, or a hold? What? The other thing that our mate Trixie says is that I flip the switch on and off at... I don't know where this accent is coming from. Just go with it. I flipped the switch 100 times with a 1 second gap in between. The light failed to respond appropriately 5 times, translating to a failure rate of 5%. A failure rate of 5%? No, he's not worth it. Just leave it, all right? He's not worth it. On top of this, at time of filming, you can't use scheduling to control the light switch. You know, the most basic of all home automation functionality. I can't say, switch the light switch off at 10 o'clock every night. What?
What the f***? What are you thinking? I like a f***ing stick of f***ing cock galaxies. Get up, what the f***ing idiots?
When Philips first announced this piece of junk at CES, I had this to say about it. This is great, it solves a massive problem. All you've got to do is rewire your existing light switch so that it's permanently on, so you go through all the process of rewiring, and then put the battery-powered... Yes, battery-powered. Why would you think that they would actually power this using the electricity that's already there at your wall when they've forced you to rewire it anyway? Why would you think that? No, it's battery-powered. Since then, I've had a few Hue fanboys tell me, oh, the battery is there so that the switch will still work even if you don't have a neutral wire at the light switch. Philips Hue are geniuses and you're stupid! Which is a bit strange, because my Broadlink light switch doesn't have a neutral wire, doesn't have a battery, and can control my smart home bulbs. Which got me thinking, why would Philips Hue do this? Is it because... It couldn't be. Planned obsolescence, because we want you to buy the same products over and over again. In 5 years' time, just in time for your batteries to run out, Philips Hue will release the Gen 2 version that doesn't need a battery, and you'll all go, oh my god, it's so much better than the last one. That's how it should have been made in the first place. And if you're in my comments section right now going,
Ooh, I'm a Philips Hue fanboy and you can go to hell.
I don't care. And I will refer you back to this in 5 years' time. So be careful what you write, because I am very pedantic and I will put it in my calendar to make sure I come back to berate you. You think this won't bother you in 5 years' time, don't you? That's what you're thinking. You're thinking, in 5 years, I'll just change them. It'll be fine. I'll just change the batteries. If you do it in 5 rooms, right, and they all fail a month apart, you're gonna have a really shitty 5 months. One of my viewers recently left the comments to describe me as a poorly scripted vaudeville act.
Poorly scripted vaudeville act t-shirts are now available to buy at paulhibbert.co.uk.
Whether you think I'm a poorly scripted vaudeville act or not, I think we can all agree on one thing. The price of the Philips Hue wall module switch is obnoxious. If you want to do this with just normal light bulbs, so have a light switch that looks exactly the same as it always did, but is now magically smart enough to switch your bulbs on and off with your voice, you can do this with a Shelly 1L for less than £10. Less than a tenner. £39 to tie myself to Philips Hue forever and change the batteries every 5 years, or £10 to not live in a totalitarian nightmare? Difficult choice. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I think this is an absolute no-brainer. You can't just like create a product that can't be scheduled in the smart home industry. That in itself is ridiculous. But on top of that, they've got an absolutely obnoxious price tag and batteries that you're gonna have to change every 5 years. Stop looking at me like that doesn't bother you. That will be a problem. That will drive you mental in 5 years' time, and you've got to unscrew everything and rewire it and screw it back in. You're not gonna want to do that in every room of your house. This is a terrible, terrible option. Let me know if you think differently. I shall try and take your opinion seriously. This video is in no way sponsored, but I have featured products that I have been sponsored for before. Full disclosure. Because I really like the Broadlink stuff. I really like the Shelly stuff. I wouldn't be recommending it right now if I didn't. I would have taken my sponsorship money and then never mentioned them again. I'm mentioning them again now because there are far better options than the Philips Hue solution. If you want to buy any of those things, they are linked in the description. In the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. That'll tell YouTube's algorithms it was a good video, and more people should see it. If you want to see some more of this guy, hit that subscribe button and ding that bell. If you ding the bell, it lets YouTube know that you want to be notified when I upload videos. These incredible people here are my patrons, and I can't thank them enough. Without them, there would be no poorly scripted vaudeville act. Thanks to those guys, there is a poorly scripted vaudeville act, and you can help make that happen at either Patreon or buy me a one-off beer at PayPal, and either way, I will genuinely love you forever. These are my Facebooks and my Twitters and my Instagrams. Come and hang out there, and we can be best friends. See you next time. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Lord Vader, ship the switch. What? Philips Hue will release their Gen 2 battery-free version, and you'll all go, ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes, that's a difficult option. Yes. Yes.